It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's time to talk a little bit more movie news, or should I say rumors. There are some big rumors out there that some major action franchises are going to be replacing their long-standing male leads with female characters. There's also a rumor out there that a beloved children's movie from the 80s, which no one likely remembers unless you are a Gen Xer, is also going to be rebooted with a gender swap as a female lead character, which will likely go right to Disney+. These are following in the footsteps of big money makers. The next Karate Kid, remember that one from Hilary Swank? They decided to get rid of Daniels-Son. That one didn't really work out. Ghostbusters 2016. That's one of the one of the flops of legend. That's a legendary flop right there. Ocean's 8, where they decided they were going to replace the all-male cast of the heist movie, which had honestly gotten stale, with an all-female cast with some type of relation between the lead characters. I think it might have been Billy Ocean's sister. Who was that? Was that Sandy B? That one, I think, was the most successful of the three. We also had American Pie do an all-female, like, girl power, straight-to-Blu-ray film. You can't even make a movie about a dude banging a pie anymore before you got to have the all-female reboot. Also, of course, we've got a Pirates of the Caribbean reboot that's going to be led by a female pirate. Because we all know female-led pirate movies are just blockbuster material there. Everybody's looking for stuff like that. Now, at this point, we all know there's nothing you can do about it. They're just going to keep jamming this crap down your throat, continuously rebooting the things that you love, or perhaps even doing a handoff is what they're attempting in Indiana Jones and 007 James Bond to a new lead character that happens to be female. As far as Flight of the Navigator, Disney has been doing this stuff for a long time. They really, as far as all the studios out there, nobody could give less, F's, the Disney studios, about whether or not you appreciate what they're doing to something that you grew up with. They are going to make the changes that they want to make, whether you like it or not. They don't care if you pay to go see the film. They don't care, if I guess as long as the subscriptions right now for Disney Plus keep going up, they will keep ramming this crap down your throats. Obviously, at this point, it's gotten quite tiresome. I only named a few of these girl power, feminist bullshit, like overtakings of long-standing male franchises, male-led movies, and that's just the way it is. There's nothing really we can do about it. So let's get into some of the details. First up, we've got Indiana Jones. There's a new report from the set of Indiana Jones 5, which is a very closely held production. We don't even really know what it's about, although there were some studio photos that were leaked out. It looked like Nazis were in there. So apparently we're going back in time, because the first movie was obviously dealing with Nazis. The third movie, The Last Crusade, which I maintain is the greatest third film in a trilogy of all times. I don't even consider the Crystal Skull movie to exist. But obviously that one they were fighting Russians. And it looks like they're going back to Nazis. So the first, third, and then the fifth film as well. Harrison Ford obviously is quite a bit older than when he started Indiana Jones. I believe it's been 40 years since the very first film. And they have lined up a new replacement. Or so that's the rumor. Her name is Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And that is the big rumor out there that Star Wars chief Kathleen Kennedy is set to make a big, bold change that could involve Waller, her as yet to be identified character that is going to be in Indiana Jones 5. I called her the Star Wars chief. She's the Lucasfilm president. She's the one in charge of all Lucasfilm. So you could see why Indiana Jones would be in there. That was acquired during the Lucasfilm acquisition. And a source close to a British newspaper said it would be a huge statement and a great role for Phoebe. The gossip on the set is that this character will slot into the leading role. And I think that they are overestimating what a great role it will be for Phoebe to take over such an iconic role from Harrison Ford, whether or not he hands it over willingly within the film. Obviously, most people are going to shit all over it. They are not going to appreciate it. And she will, she's going to get the Jar Jar Binks statement. She's going to stand out probably for all the wrong reasons, whether it's good or not. Like I said, you've had Harrison Ford in the role for 40 years. Now, I do remember back in the day, and most people probably don't. Do you remember the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, where there was like a little kid Indiana Jones, and there was one like maybe in his 20s? So they have recast the role before, only with male characters. Obviously, this new character played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge likely will be taking over the mantle of Indiana Jones. Kind of makes you wish Shia LaBeouf's Mutt Williams, the original, I guess, idea to take over for Indiana Jones. Maybe you're kind of wishing that one had taken. That one had worked within Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but that movie was so bad, and Shia LaBeouf went so far off the deep end that he is no longer in contention, or even, I don't know, they don't even talk about him for mainstream roles anymore. I think he just went so crazy. But hey, I'd rather have Shia come in here and take over for that crap, and I find Shia to be quite annoying. Here's the real thing. So there already is a female Indiana Jones out there. They've made 3 movies with her. She's one of the most highest selling video game characters of all time. Her name's Lara Croft. The very first Lara Croft Tomb Raider is actually a pretty damn good movie. It's essentially Indiana Jones with big jugs, in short shorts on. I thought Angelina Jolie did a very good job. They incorporated some archaeological stuff with the video games, lots of fun adventure. I thought that first Lara Croft Tomb Raider was pretty darn good, actually. The sequel absolutely sucked. I don't even remember what it's called. I just remember it was the Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie you wish you hadn't seen. Now, they did try to reboot this franchise recently with that European lady that was in all the movies there for a minute. Now she's not in the movies anymore. They tried to reboot it with her. That was pretty laughable. You could tell she had never been to a gym. She had arms that were about as big as my ankles, and I have notoriously chicken legs, so my ankles are not exactly enormous. And it was funny that you were supposed to take this character seriously because she had absolutely zero muscle mass on her. At least it looked like Angelina Jolie had hit the gym and had put a little bit of muscle on, so you could imagine her going through and fighting a bunch of people within the jungles, trying to grab some artifacts. But like I said, there is a female version of Indiana Jones. She already exists. She's called Lara Croft. There's been one good movie, and I think it actually made money, and the other 2 bombed because they absolutely sucked. And the second casting choice, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name right now. Not worth remembering because she's not in movies anymore, at least as far as I can tell. Was absolutely atrocious. They forgot to cast somebody athletic or that looked like maybe once in their life they've been camping or maybe had gone hiking up a hill, let alone a mountain. So that was on them. You should have cast better for that reboot. There's no reason that thing had a bomb. Lara Croft Tomb Raider is absolutely a worldwide known property and character. And you already have a female Indiana Jones. I hope they reboot that shit and they call it Larry Croft Tomb Raider, and it blows up, and that'll be the new Indiana Jones. And then this new female-led Indiana Jones number 5, that's obviously leading in with Phoebe Waller-Bridge taking over, can just bomb away, and we could just segue right over to Larry Croft and keep enjoying our archaeological-based it's not really a superhero, but action-based hero. Also, we've got what appears to be a new 007 James Bond, according to rumors. And there is reporting that Lashana Lynch will be replacing Bond as 007. While there are conflicting reports that say she's just being introduced as a new 00 agent within MI6. And possibly stepping into the mantle on a temporary basis when he retires. We know Daniel Craig, I believe he's on his last James Bond film. Now, with all the gender swaps we've seen and all the rumors and the confirmations of gender swaps on action-based characters, of course, people are going to be freaked out, whether this is true or not. they're almost shell-shocked at this point. You know, you've seen it happen so many times. You're like, oh my God, why do I have to keep seeing this crap? And obviously longtime fans of the 007 James Bond franchise are pissed. It's supposed to be a male character. This isn't an original Hollywood idea. These are all based on films. Guess who James Bond, or I'm sorry, all based on books. Guess who James Bond is in all those books? Male, British, spy. And that's who the character is supposed to be. And I hate it when they take someone else's creation and they basically destroy, bastardize it. And now, actress Lashana Lynch will be playing an MI6 agent in this Bond film called No Time to Die. And apparently she has gotten some feedback. I think this is awful. This is terrible. If what she's saying here is true, or at least the part to her is true, I think it's reprehensible, and I don't think people should be doing this. The other part where she's talking about her friends, that's hearsay. That's bullshit. Whatever. I'm not going to, there's no reason to even talk about that because that's just stupid. But this is what she says. She says there were some personal messages to her, like Instagram DMs and DMs on Twitter, and they were very dark, mean, and reminiscent of an age I wasn't even born in, where women and black people weren't allowed to move in certain spaces. That's awful. If you are one of those people that are DMing Lashana Lynch, as it, you know, she's a professional actress, she took the role. That decision is not on her. That is on the studio. If you have a problem, your problem is with the studio, not the actress. If you're one of those people doing that, I think that that is terrible. She also mentions that some of her friends overheard conversations in subways where they're talking about this. That's all hearsay bullshit, and people are allowed to have conversations privately or even out and about while they're walking around, not knowing that they're within ear distance of Lashana Lynch's friends. So whatever. People are allowed to have conversations whether you agree with them or not. But if you are DMing this person, harassing them, that is absolutely BS. And you are part of the problem, in my opinion. Although Lashana Lynch, admittedly, not what we were just talking about there, is also a part of the problem. Because this is one of her quotes. And tell me, once you hear this quote, does this make you want to listen or want this person to play James Bond or any type of spy in an action movie? This is her quote. This is so damn ridiculous. Quote, I said I want her to be a real woman, talking about this MI6 agent that she's playing. I thought there might be a scene where she's coming out of the toilet and you see her throw her tampon in the bin. We don't need to make a meal of it, but we're in the ladies' room. You're going to see someone pick their nose or pull out their wedgie. That's some slice of life bullshit that needs to go direct to Netflix that no one ever watches because it's stupid. Nobody wants to see stupid stuff like that in their action-based James Bond movie. And when you make quotes like that, you say stuff like that, it's hard for people, even if they want to defend you, to want you to play a role like this. Because you obviously don't get James Bond or the 007 franchise. That was a stupid quote. I don't want to see James Bond walking around, grabbing his balls and itching them for any portion of the movie. I don't want to see him in a Speedo where you can clearly see that he hasn't had a Brazilian in 10 years. I don't want to know how hairy his butthole is and how, what he has to do to clean it. We know that these things occur in real life. That would make him a more realistic person, but this isn't supposed to be realistic. It's 007. It's action-based, like fantasy adventure stuff with technology and, and plot holes that are so enormously stupid that just to make the movie work. Get out of here with stuff like that. Now, there have been other black females that have been in the 007 franchise. Never, I believe, as an MI6 agent. I don't think there's been actually any black MI6 agents or female MI6 agents. There's a lot of MI6 agents that are talked about, mentioned, but you never actually seen them. So maybe some of them are, you just don't know it. But we have had Trina Parks, Gloria Hendry, Grace Jones, Halle Berry, and Naomi Harris have all played parts, a lot of Bond girls and some villains within the 007 franchise. Specifically, Trina Parks, who is no longer with us. I believe she died in 2019. She actually addressed this rumor about Lashana Lynch taking over as 007, and this is what the villain Thumper in Diamonds Are Forever had to say about Lashana. She said, quote, Lashana is a great actress, but I don't really agree with her becoming 007. Parks said, obviously before she passed away, it's not about her color, but just because Bond, the spy code named 007, was written by Ian Fleming as a man. And I agree with what Trita Parks had to say before she, unfortunately passed away. If you're making this about color, one of the people DMing her or harassing her, you're part of the problem, and that really isn't the issue. It's a male-led action franchise. There are only a few, requirements to play 007 on the big screen. Hopefully you're in shape, you're a dude, and you're British. Other than that, I guess you can have a British accent. As long as you meet those requirements and you look pretty debonair in a damn tuxedo, you can say Bond, James Bond, and look cool doing it. All hats are off. Having a female 007 is just stupid. Of course, they would never make like a 009 spin-off with a female-led MI6 spy movie because they know it would bomb ass immediately. The only way that this could ever succeed is of having the 007 James Bond name attached to it, but it's going to bomb anyway. They're just asking to lose money. Now, finally, this last one hits me a little bit closer to my heart here. I remember as a kid watching Flight of the Navigator with my brothers, with my mom, really enjoying that movie. It's about a kid. He goes missing, and then he shows back up 8 years later. Everyone's aged but him, and there's this weird, UFO that's nearby, and they're starting to think that there's some type of connection between the two as they're trying to figure out why this kid didn't age. And by the end, he's I don't know, does he link up with the UFO or some type of alien? I can't remember exactly, but he ends up flying it around. And it was really great. I remember watching that at my birthday, had a bunch of friends over. We had some pizza. It was a really good time. It's a nice, wholesome memory for this guy when he was a younger person. Now, the Hollywood Reporter is claiming that Bryce Dallas Howard is attached to direct and produce a female-led reimagining of the 1986 kids sci-fi adventure from Walt Disney Studios. In the new iteration, the protagonist will be female, although it's unclear if the age bracket will change as well. Disney does this stuff all the time, and in this case, I will concede Flight of the Navigator belongs to Disney. They can do whatever they want with it. I don't know why they need to reboot this. It's not exactly really a well-known movie. The only people that are going to know about it are dads that would want to watch this with their sons, or maybe some older gentlemen. They don't have kids, but they want to have some nostalgia about being 8 years old and watching Flight of the Navigator again. You could essentially remake this movie, just call it another name and have a female lead on it. It's not like Flight of the Navigator has a cachet with a large amount of people in the United States, let alone worldwide. But, they have to rip off all this stuff. It's just, it's never ending. If it's not the Rocketeer, they got to be messing with the Muppets. Obviously, they acquired Jim Henson's productions. And now it's Flight of the Navigator. And next we'll be getting the Mighty Ducks with an all transgender, cast. And they'll go and win the Junior World Cup hockey tournament or something. Eventually, even Disney's own films, and we have seen this to a degree, will become problematic for Disney, and they'll try to, wash all of this away by recasting the movie, refilming it, and replacing anything that they could have found problematic. And it's just light. Now, some people are out there might say, listen, I was just on Netflix and I saw He's All That. That was a gender swap from a female to a male character. I'll give you that. That was obviously that Freddie Prinze Jr. Rachel Lee Cook when we first discovered her as an actress. But in your face, She's All That is just a ripoff of Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey in the role of Rachel Lee Cook and that kid from Cobra Kai. I'm surprised he took a movie like that. So even the stuff that looks like it's coming, you get one gender swap to ours, it was a male character to begin with. Go watch Can't Buy Me Love. It's the exact same movie. But I don't know. It gets tiresome, doesn't it? Very tiresome. And it just happens so often and just continuously happening despite all the box office bombs and the failures and not making money, that you know it's an agenda. It's not even pandering. It's weird with entertainment the way it is. They no longer care whether their customers want or even like what they're producing, because these big entertainment companies, they've essentially cannibalized each other to such a degree. There's only a few of them left anymore. So really, you have you have choice, but it's very limited choice, and they're all doing the same bullshit anyway. So there's nothing you can do about it. So I don't know. It is what it is. Are you going to support a female-led Indiana Jones? Are you going to support a female-led James Bond? And are you excited about a female-led Flight of the Navigator? Let me know in the comments section. I imagine you can see that I'm not in support of these things.